What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Driver Session. And today I got another interesting topic for you. The question was brought up. Wait a minute, let's stop. We're having a conversation today that I never thought I would have to have, but I guess times have changed. And since someone in the community, actually several people in the community, brought this question up, we need to dive into it. So, do you think it's a good idea to buy a used Corvette? But you know this is more focused around the C8. Let's talk about it. Before we dive into the topic, let's get through the formalities. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Sho. This is ICNV Driver's Edition. It's a community built for car enthusiasts that like to drive cars to make you turn your head, and that aren't just normal everyday people movers. But we're also an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I may shoot a video on it, just like this one. So I've been asked several times, especially going back over the Corvette issues and the transmission issues from several videos I've made in the past, like these. And what has come up a lot from the community is buying a used Corvette really a good idea? Well, before I dive into the C8, I just want you to understand, anytime you buy a used car, the purpose of buying a used car is to get ahead of some of the depreciation of the car. Cars are going to depreciate regardless, but you buy a used car so you don't have to take the full blunt of the depreciation versus buying a new car. So when it comes to a C7, most C7s have kind of hit a stabilized marketplace where they're still going to depreciate the more the miles go up on the cars. But for most part, you're not taking huge $3,000, $4,000, $6,000, $7,000 depreciation swings a year. At this point, that market is more on a $2,000 to $3,000 decline max over the course of a year. If you put like 8,000 to 10,000 miles on your car, which I would say is normal driving for Corvette owners that like to keep their miles low. And in that case, you won't get that much depreciation. That's why I said plateaued out. And it should be more like $1,000 to $2,000 decline per year, even if it's that much. I don't think it's that much. But let's be real. Most of this is focused around the Corvette C8. And the Corvette C8, on the other hand, has a lot of people in concern. But I will still say this to you. When you look at the grand scheme of why you buy used, a Corvette C8 starts out about 60 grand. Today on the used market, you can get a used 2020 Corvette for about 62 to 66,000. In most cases, 66 to 72,000 if you're looking at a used 3LT, say convertible, which is probably the highest they come in. So based upon going out and getting a brand new 2025 Corvette for, what is it, like 67,000 MSRP with the discount, 60 grand, somewhere around there, you can get more options, more equipment, which is why you buy used. I mean, think about this. I could buy a base Corvette C8 with base climate controls, no aero, that's it, $67,000. Boy, you can turn around and you can go buy a used Corvette 3LT with aero Z51 package, nose lift, performance exhaust, upgraded sound system, and so many more features for the same money. So to me, if I wanted better quality materials, like a better leather package, upgraded two-tone interior, so forth, I would go with the used Corvette. To me, it just makes sense. I'm that person. I don't want the base seats. I like the upgraded GT2 seats. And in some cases, you can even find cars with GT3 seats. So again, if you ask me, do it make sense to buy a used Corvette C8? I'm going to tell you yes, because you can get more for your money. And that's the whole purpose of buying used. But again, let's be real. that's not why we're asking this question about buying a used Corvette C8. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you to all my military members and veterans, because we all know freedom isn't free. And because of you guys and the sacrifices that your families make, we get to enjoy this thing we call freedom, which we enjoy so much. So a big salute to all my military members, veterans, and family members who make the ultimate sacrifice. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver Edition community. This is an interactive community, which means if you hit me up in the comments below or on any one of my social media platforms, I will do my best to respond back. And if the topic is interesting enough, I will make a video on it. So reach out, let's chat. But let's get back to this video. The reason we are really asking this question, or this question is brought out by so many people in the community, is you're concerned about the warranties being voided, or the transmission failure, or things of that concern. It's the fears of ownership of a Corvette C8 that has got this question as a hot topic right now. And I'll just be honest with you. In my opinion, I wouldn't be concerned about it. I would tell you just straight off the back like this. Regardless of when the maintenance was done, because I know people want to say, oh, they didn't do the maintenance at 7,500 miles and it has 8,600 miles on the car, or 9,000 miles on the car, or 12,000 miles on the car. They didn't do this, they didn't do this. I don't know if this was done. If you buy a 2020, 2021, or 2022 car used, go into it with this understanding. Within your first 6 months of ownership, you need to do a trans fluid flush and filter replacement. If you're buying a 2020 car, in theory, it's already out the bumper to bumper warranty. The powertrain is probably going to be up sometime within the next year. And any warranty concerns, for the most part, are going to fall back onto whatever aftermarket warranty you purchase or extended warranty you purchase. It's the same thing. So with that being stated, I wouldn't be too concerned about losing the factory warranty. I would just be concerned about picking a maintenance point for yourself to follow at this point in time. So I would go out and do the trans fluid flush, the trans filter fluid replacement, and I would base all my trans filter servicing from this point going forward based off the intervals that are suggested in the maintenance plan going forward. Meaning that every 15,000 miles replacing the trans filter, and then the next service interval after that requires the trans fluid to be changed. I would go from the mileage on my car and stick to that going forward if I drive a lot, or I would use the time as a reference. That's just me. I wouldn't be concerned about the other stuff that happened before the car, because you are the current car's owner and you only know what you've done today going forward. Now, if you're looking at a 2023, 2024, or 2025 model, you're still kind of in the clear. And what I mean by that is 2023 models should be entering their second year of ownership, which means they should be approaching their 7,500 mile trans filter replacement. If it wasn't done, again, like I said, just have in the back of your mind within the next 6 months, or I would say before the beginning of 2026, you want to get that trans fluid flush and filter change done. That will alleviate all the other drama of what was done when it was done beforehand. If you're getting a 2024 model, you are still within that 2-year coverage by GM to get your trans filter replaced. So it's not a hot topic of concern. So when people ask me, do I think buying a Corvette C8 used is a good idea? I think we overthink this process. I think we forget why we buy used. And buying used is getting more bang for your buck. That's what it's always been about. And when it comes to the C8, you can get more bang for your buck by buying the car on the used market. The servicing of the trans filter, to me, or the DCT filter for those that want to be specific, it's not that big of a deal. I wouldn't be concerned about the breakdowns happening of the car as many people are. I know there have been some horror stories, but let's be real. The C7 came out, it came out with a 7-speed transmission. That 2014 model 7-speed transmission, there were a lot of issues. You didn't hear that much about it. You know why? Because social media wasn't bombarded the way it is today. They switched over to an 8-speed. There was still some transmission issues in 2016 and 2015 with those models. You didn't hear that much about it. The C7 Z06 came out. It had a cooling issue. You heard a lot more about that, but you heard more about that leaning more towards 2017, 2018 as traffic picked up. The reason you hear so much about the C8 issues today is because of COVID and a huge market that fled to social media. So now everything is highlighted and emphasized, and I would say blown up on social media. So think about it this way. The C7 had issues. The C8 has made twice as many C7s that were ever built and haven't had twice as many issues to my knowledge. So if you look at it from that point, it's not that big a difference. And I say this to you stating that if you look at the warranty or the suggested maintenance coverage for both vehicles, there is a total of 3 extra services that are required on the C8 that was not required on the C7 for the first 150,000 miles of ownership. You have 3 extra trans filter replacements or DCT filter replacements for those that need to hear that were not on the C7 model. So in actuality, between the C7 and the C8, we're talking about a difference of 3 extra service requirements. But I get it. The real reason we're having this conversation is because for the C7, the cost seemed more manageable because it was under $500, whereas for the C8, you're talking $750 to $1,000. And when you look at 3 extra services, you're talking anywhere between $3,000 and $2,200. So I get it. But at the end of the day, I would still buy a used C8 because I could get more bang for my buck with a used car. I could get nose lift. I can get performance exhaust. I could get GT2 seats, possibly the GT3 seats or the competition seats, as they say. I could get the aero package. I could get a convertible. I can get a lot more for my money. 2-tone interior, 1 solid interior. I can get suede perforated seats. All of this cannot be accomplished for the same price as a 1LT on the new market. And that's why we buy used. But I know we're going to have differences of opinion. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Tell me if you agree with me. Tell me if you think the C8 on a used car market is a safe purchase. I'm going to tell you again, I do. And I told you why. But tell me why you don't believe it is, or tell me if you agree with me. I know a lot of you have already went out and bought C8s after having conversations with me, and I appreciate your support and belief. And we've shared conversations where you told me the car has been reliable, no issues. I think, honestly, if I only met one person that's truly had an issue with their car that bought one used, and at the end of the day, he still owns the car. It's been taken care of, but it might have went down for, I think, 2 to 3 months of servicing. If I got that wrong, let me know in the comments below. But either way it goes, ICNV Driver's Edition. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver's Edition community. We are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I may even shoot a video on it. But don't forget, this is also a community of car enthusiasts that love to drive cars to make you turn your head and aren't your everyday people movers. So if you're one of those people, lock in, subscribe, and hang out with your boy. But as always, we were made in his image and given dominion over the world. So we weren't just meant to be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, never ever give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. He's not done with you, and he's definitely not done with me. So stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in these streets and hopefully behind the wheels of a used Corvette or any Corvette that you desire. Peace.